10 minutes after the hour of 6 o'clock. Let's check our levels, make sure that everything's working good. Looks like our audio is okay on Facebook and YouTube this morning. And checked it out on KLYN and still checking it out. If it's not, you got to let me know. You got to let me know. But I think that we are doing okay this morning. What is a shortcut? Well, since when did that start popping up? This iPhone, they just keep on adding all kinds of stuff. It's like my brain. I only use 10% of it. It's like my phone. I only use 10% of that, too. Anyway, good morning. Good morning. It is Christmas 2025. Your resident Grinch and Scrooge combined into one here behind the mic at 2207 7th Street. I've already told you that the temperature, let me remind you again, I have to go there. 46 degrees is our current temperature. Apparently, according to bought and paid for, it's 69 degrees with an 8-mile-an-hour breeze coming out of the east in Huntsville, Alabama. 69 already? I don't think you're going to get any snow either over there in Huntsville. So let it snow, let it snow, let it snow. Ain't going to work. Flo is with us from Santa Fe, New Mexico, and we thank you because you know what? You'd be surprised who's up this morning and what they're doing. You know, doing some baking, doing some cooking, getting ready for friends and family to come over and all kinds of stuff. Anyway, we are in part 2 of chapter 32 of the book of Genesis this morning. And you said, well, are you just going to keep on going on Genesis? Aren't you going to have some type of Christmas? It's every day's a holiday here at KLYN. Let's give some of the addresses. lvcornerstone.com is one that we have over here. A phone number, 505-454-9527. And an email address, klyn903@gmail.com is another address that I have for you guys. And Joe Gentry, yeah, he knows I'm a Scrooge this morning. He's not even saying, no, that's not a good thing to say. Well, it's the truth anyway. Every day's a holiday. Ha, ha, ha. Genesis chapter 32, 22. We were there yesterday morning, a little after 7 o'clock, when something happened with the volume. We were kind of going through this. I don't know how much you guys were able to catch that were on YouTube and Facebook. All of a sudden, I looked down and I started getting some comments, and I didn't see the little meter moving. And you know what that means? That I tried taking a little bit extra energy out of a battery that didn't have any. So I put new batteries into the iRig this morning that cleans up our digital sound, into the iPad that goes through Switcher Studio. So good morning, good morning, good morning, everybody that is out there. Jacob is wrestling with God. That's where we were yesterday. Today, Jacob's going to die. In the 32nd chapter, starting off with the 22nd verse, Jacob is going to die. If that didn't wake you up this morning, you said, wait. Stay tuned. I think I got something figured out. I think I have something. And he arose. So Jacob has awakened from sleep. Okay? He took his 2 wives. We were there yesterday. He took his 2 wives, his 2 female servants, his 11 sons, and crossed over the ford of Jabbok. He took them, sent them over by the brook, and has sent over what he had. Then Jacob was left alone. So Jacob is coming back into the land. God has spoken to him. God spoke to him when he was leaving. God spoke to him to leave and come back. And but he still is in a quandary about what is going to happen with his brother Esau, who had threatened 20 years ago that he was going to kill him as soon as Daddy died. Well, Daddy's not dead yet. I don't know if Jacob knows this or not. But Daddy is not dead yet. Isaac is not dead. Rebecca, she's passed away already. But the main thing is that Esau is coming with 400 men, and it don't look too good, senor. It could be the last day. This could be it. So what he's done is he's divided his, what would we call him? More than his flocks. His possessions. He's divided his possessions in two camps. And then he's taken his wives and their servants and the children, and he's put them on the other side of the river. And there he is by himself. I don't know exactly what's going through his mind. I know it would be going through my mind. I mean, I'm over there saying, God, you said, God, you said, God, you said, God, you said. And then I said, did you say, did you say, did you say, God, you said? And then I said, I'm going back and forth saying, I'm pretty sure I heard him say, and he told me to come. And anyway, Jacob is by himself. And a man wrestled with him until the breaking of the day. Georgie, that's exactly what my wife is going to be doing. George sent me a text that he's brining the standing rib. My wife had me get up at 3 o'clock in the morning, take out the prime rib, and be sure that they were going to be room temperature, because she has a recipe that she can't wait to use, and she wants the prime rib at room temperature before she puts it in the oven. So, like a good husband, like an insurance company, yeah, I was there. Then Jacob was left alone, ladies and gentlemen. I thought I'd throw that in there this morning. It has to be prime rib today, man. Come on. Jacob was left alone between him and his thoughts. But you know what? Jacob isn't really alone. But let me tell you what, Jacob is going to die today. And a man wrestled with him until the breaking of day. And if you don't know the story, you're going to say, well, this man, who is God himself, according to Jacob, okay, is this man going to kill him today? His entourage, yeah, you're right. That was better. That was better. And he's got a ton of them. He has already sent, I believe, we saw this yesterday, he sent 220 sheep. He sent 220 goats. He sent a bunch of camels. He sent a bunch of donkeys. He's and this isn't everything that he owned. He owns a lot. He's come down with a lot of servants, and a lot of his entourage, thank you, Jeff, is huge. That's why Laban was able to catch up with him. But Jacob is left alone, or at least he thinks he's alone. And a man wrestled with him until breaking of the day. And as we said yesterday, the New King James Bible interprets this man with a capital M, pointing for it to be deity. But really, today is Jacob's last day. He wrestled with him until breaking of the day. Now, when he, not Jacob, but the man, we're just going to call him the man today, saw that he, the man, did not prevail against him, he touched the socket of his hip, and the socket of Jacob's hip was out of joint as he wrestled with him. So Jacob's a pretty good wrestler. Jacob didn't give up. Jacob kept at it. I don't know how much he had left in the tank, but it was enough to keep wrestling until the breaking of the day. So whenever they started in the middle of the night, all the way to where it's just about time for the sun to come up, they're still wrestling. And Jacob is wrestling with God. And God is seeing that he's not prevailing against him. And what he does, he touches the socket of his hip. You know, there's you got that hip bone. What do you call it? You got and there's that socket in there. You know, that whole one on each side where your legs are attached, and you know, and the socket of Jacob's hip was out of joint as he wrestled with him. And I think George and I can identify with the socket of the hip, being meat cutters that we've been, you know, we've seen this before with different animals, not humans, okay? Don't get us wrong, okay? Talk to the mortician about that one. Or he touched the socket of his hip, and the socket of Jacob's hip was out of joint as he wrestled with him. And the man said, "Let me go, for the day breaks." But Jacob said, "I will not let you go unless you bless me." You say, "Well, when's he going to die?" Right now. "Let me go, for the day breaks," he said, "and I will not let you go unless you bless me." So the man said to him, "What is your name?" And he says, "Jacob." And he said, "Your name shall no longer be called Jacob." That was a gunshot, is what it was. But Israel. This is the day that Jacob was born again. This is the day that the old man died. Oh, come on. You said that Jacob, well, Jacob, you know what? If you don't realize what being born again is all about, you're kind of like Nicodemus in the 3rd chapter of the book of John. If you don't really take it's serious what Jesus was talking to Nicodemus about, and like we looked at, I think it was 1 John chapter 4 in one of the readings yesterday or day before, where it talks about being born again. You do not really realize, you do not really have a handle on what being born again is all about. Nicodemus says the story. Here is Jacob, and Jacob is being born again. But for Jacob to be born again, he has to die first. He is wrestling with God. And he's really putting everything into it. And God is just there. Yeah, come on. You know, God is just over there. It's kind of like if when I would wrestle with my kids, you know, when they were preteens. After that, I decided I don't know if I want to be doing this all the time, especially with my sons. When they started getting a little older, I started feeling, well, I better change the subject. We better start anyway. But God is wrestling with him, and he says, "Let me go, let me go, let me go." And he says, "I will not let you go unless you bless me." Well, I'm going to bless you because I'm going to kill you and I'm going to resurrect you again. And this is going to be, now your name is not Jacob anymore. And he said, your name shall no longer be called Jacob, but Israel. How many times in the New Testament do we see a Peter? What was his name? His name was Simon. I think it was something else. And then now his name is Peter. How about a Saul becoming a Paul? You know, a real declaration from heaven above of a new life and a new man. And the new man, let me tell you a bit about the new man, because I got about 3 minutes before we play a song, get us to about this new man in the 32nd chapter of Genesis, every time he takes a step, is going to remember this day. Because he's going to walk with a limp for the rest of his day. That's going to remind him of this exact event. Every time somebody says, "What's the matter with your leg?" He says, "Sit down, let me tell you the story. Let me tell you about the story, the day I died and the day I came back to life. Let me tell you why I don't sign my name Jacob anymore, but Israel." Wow. You mean there's a story behind it, he says. And he's like me. He has to go all the way back and talk about Esau and his mother and his father and leaving and going and Laban and 20 years and then come, and he's got to tell him the whole story. That's a lot of cups of coffee that you got to sit down and talk about. A few scones to go along with it. Oh my God. Let me tell you, let me go, for the day breaks. But he said, I will not let you go unless you bless me. Let me bless you, son. Let me kill you and resurrect you right here. Isaac knew what this was all about. He's gonna go home. I know the Bible doesn't tell us, but I know he's gonna go home, and he's gonna and his dad's gonna still be alive. He's gonna say, Dad, you're never gonna believe what happened to me over there by the brook, Jabbok. You're never gonna. Oh, son, I know, because one day I was killed one day on Mount Moriah. One day, your grandfather tied me up and put me on the altar of sacrifice, and I died that day. Didn't get a new name like you did, but I was born again when we heard the bleating of the sheep. I think that's what's going on here in the 32nd chapter of the book of Genesis. I got Selah singing, My Jesus, I Love Thee, taking us to the bottom of the hour. What are your thoughts on what's going on here?
My Jesus, I love Thee. I know Thou art mine. For Thee of sin I resign. My gracious Redeemer, my Savior art Thou. If ever I love Thee, my Jesus, 'tis now. I love Thee because Thou hast first loved me and purchased my pardon on Calvary's tree. I love Thee for wearing the thorns on Thy brow. If ever I love Thee, my Jesus, 'tis now. In mansions of glory and endless delight, I
32 minutes after, no, it's only 30 minutes after the hour. Where did that come from? Selah singing My Jesus, I Love You. Thursday morning, the 25th day of December. 46 degrees here in Vegas. It feels like 42, the real Vegas. 7-mile-an-hour breeze blowing out of the south-southeast. Let's see what the weatherman has for the next couple of days. 65 with partly sunny skies today. West wind 10 to 20, increasing 20 to 30 with winds as high as 40 miles per hour this afternoon. So it's going to be windy if you're going to play football with the family today. Better take that into consideration if it's 40-mile-an-hour gusts. Friday, partly sunny, high near 61. West wind 10 to 15, increasing 15 to 20. Tomorrow afternoon, wind gusts as high as 30. So gust even tomorrow. It was even gusting a couple of days ago when the grandsons and I were playing golf in the backyard. Saturday, partly sunny, high near 59, southwest wind 15 to 20, increasing 25 to 30, winds as high as 40 miles per hour. Glad that you are along with us on this day. Reminder about our website, lvcornerstone.com. That's a place to where we have the logos for Facebook and YouTube. If you want to check out the screen, what we have in front of us this morning, you can watch it also. Also, to let you know, is we have an email address, klyn903@gmail.com. But I want to get into this morning. Let me set it up first and then see if we can get that look for you that we want to get. That's the desired look that you see right there on Facebook and on YouTube. So you can follow along with us on the Bible, unless you're following along on, or maybe on KLY. But I am really, really, what could I say? I'm really glad that you decided to join me this morning on this Christmas Day. I hope it can be a blessing for you in your life. Hope that you can really realize what's going on. Well, look at what Jeff says. The man, we know who the man is, wink, wink, God, okay, could not overcome Jacob. But with just a touch, he affected Jacob's hip. Sounds like he actually had the upper hand. I'm with you, Jeff, on that one. I can see God, wrestling with one hand and then just kind of looking around and, and then just turning around and going to the other hand and with his pinky just wrestling around with him and just going to the left hand and then and then he touched the socket of his hip. Now, and he's limping, okay? His hip was out of joint as he wrestled with him. Ow! Let me bring this up. Now, you look at creation. You look at how things have been created. I like watching, and the missus will tell you this. I'm always looking for something more than just the regular television programming. It's getting worse and worse for me. It's probably not the TV producers and editors. It's probably me. But I love watching the nature-type movies. I love watching, who is that English guy that comes out, and they go to the forest or they go to the frozen tundras and places like that, and they show you the animals and they show you the forests and they show you all kinds of stuff, and they don't believe in a creator. That's what gets me. Most of those people don't even believe in a creator. But let me tell you about a tendon. A tendon, if you actually look at it, a tendon is a strap that connects the bone to the muscle, and the muscle itself begins to turn into this fibrous, more harder, more of a ropey type of a material called a tendon that attaches to something harder that is a bone. And when you really look at it, it looks like if it's just the same material, but just in a different state, from the bone to the tendon to the muscle. You don't see a lot of difference. You just see this transition from a muscle to a tendon, and it is attached. It's not tied there. It just becomes part of the bone. It's God's creation, and I'm even the guys. You say, you're freaky, dude. Yeah, I'm looking at the ants there in the Amazon forest and how they're eating the leaves and oh my God, all this stuff. And I say, that's creation. That's God Himself. Good morning, Ernest Padilla. Okay, but let's talk about something. Let's talk about the limp before we go further into this chapter. We already covered a little bit. Jacob died in this chapter. Jacob was born again. And Jacob is going to walk the rest of his life with a limp. God touched him. Just touched one little tendon that attached to a bone. And the kid, the dude, he's not a kid anymore, excuse me, is gonna limp for the rest of his life. And every time he steps, he's going, God will have a way of marking you. God has a way of reminding you that He is with you. And I tell you what, you say, well, poor Jacob, he's going to be limping for the rest of his life. No, poor Jacob, he's going to be limping, and every once in a while, he's going to go home and he's going to want to soak in a tub, and he's going to sit there and says, yeah, I remember the day, and I remember the day I died, and I remember the day that I came back to life again, and I remember the day, and today's a new day, and God, you were with me. God has a way of marking your life. Some of you, God will scar you, and maybe not physically, but God has a way of marking your life to let you know that there was a day that you died. Listen, you must be born again is what He told Nicodemus, and it wasn't just for Nicodemus, and it wasn't just for the Pharisees. It's for the whomsoever's of the world. For God loved the world. Huh? What does the Bible say? Huh? God so loved the world that He gave His only begotten Son. Whoever believed in Him would not perish, but have everlasting life. And let me tell you what, a disciple knows the limp. A disciple knows the scar, the mark that God puts upon on a life, and that mark says the same way that limp said, Jacob, you are mine, and you're not even Jacob anymore. You're Israel, and you're mine. And until you know what that's like, until you know what that scar, what that mark, whatever it is, there's something that God will do. It's in your heart more than it's in your physical body. But you know because you know, and you thank God. Jacob was gonna limp, and he was gonna thank God for the limp, because he was going to remember that day that he died and that day that he came back again from the life. And he said, your name is no longer called Jacob, but Israel, for you have struggled with God and with men and have prevailed. Had Jacob not been prevailing with man and with God since he was in the womb? Was he not prevailing with God when Esau came and prevailing with men the day that Esau came in and says, give me a bowl of that? Was he not contending for the things of God when his mother says, put this on, son, and go take this to your dad and tell him that you're Esau? It was desire. Misplaced at times. But that old man has died. That old deceiver is dead. And the limp is there now. He said, your name shall no longer be called Jacob, but Israel. Okay? Everybody knows what Israel means. Okay? Let's see what contender with God. the name given by the angel of Jehovah to Jacob. After wrestling, he had prevailed and won the blessing. A lot of people have a hard time saying it's God that was there doing, but let's see, Jacob Smith says, the prince that prevails with God. Prevailing? Oh yeah, you have prevailed. You have struggled with God. That's where Israel comes from. You have struggled with God and with men and have prevailed. We're not even talking about a nation right now. We're just talking about one man that's limping down the road, still wondering, but with a different heart, what's going to happen when he meets his brother. Good morning, Jennifer. Let's see who I missed this morning. I missed Jennifer. We talked about Flo. We talked about Joe. We talked about Jeff. We talk now about Jennifer, Ernie, George, others that haven't commented. I love it, man. Then Jacob asked, saying, tell me your name. Tell me your name. You told me my name. You gave me a name. You gave me a new life. You gave me a new purpose. You gave me a new heart. You gave me a whole new set of eyes so I can see things differently now. I don't see them the same anymore. I see them different. Wow. Yeah. Have you ever been with anybody who's just recently been born again? I remember driving a guy from the men's home down to the valley where he had grown up. We had to go home to get something. It was, about a 15-mile trip back to where he had grown up. And I'm driving, and we're going down that same old road that he's gone down that road hundreds of times, and he's looking, and his head is going to the left and he's looking, and I said, well, what's the matter? He says, man, I never realized how beautiful those trees are, and how he was born again, man. He had a whole different set of eyes. Those things will mark you for the rest of your life. Experiences like that. Jacob asked, saying, tell me what's your name, I pray. You told me what my name is now. What's your name? Who are you? And he said, why is it that you ask about my name? Why do you want to know who I am? Huh? God wants you to know who he is and how he fulfills his name. And there's different titles that God has, like Jehovah Jireh and Jehovah, or Yahweh, however you want to pronounce it, and about 7 names of different descriptive names of God in the Bible, and redemptive names is what they call them. And Jacob wants to know, who are you? Tell me your name. He said, why is it that you ask about my name? And he blessed them there. His father, his natural father had blessed him. Now his heavenly Father is blessing him there. He's a new man. So you were kind of concerned about Jacob, and I don't think he's going to die. I thought there was more things that he had to do, and is it just going to be the sons? No. He's a new man. He has died, and he is born again. Jeff has 4 over there that says in the Blue Letter Bible, which is a very good resource on the internet. Blue Letter Bible has a lot of stuff that we use here on eSword. Israel means God prevails. So, good morning, Fabiola. Cisco's going to have to go to the house and get... I thought I was going to bring them with me this morning. I couldn't find them. So Jake called the name of the place Peniel. Peniel. I don't know. For I have seen God face to face, and my life is preserved. He says, I have seen God. Now, well, was it God or wasn't God? Was it just an angel? What was it? Well, according to Jacob, and he was there, Jacob called the name of the place Peniel. I don't know. For I have seen God face. I thought I had that word down. I've seen God face to face, and my life is preserved. And just as he crossed over Peniel, I like that better, the sun rose on him and he limped on his hip. Same word, just different spelling from what I could get. Okay, I looked at this this morning, the IEL versus the UEL. In Hebrew, when you see the EL, that is the generic name for God. So, and Jacob, we're going to see even more of this in Jacob's life. Jacob, he names everything. Yeah, everywhere he goes, he puts up a rock and takes out a flask of oil and makes an altar and sets up he doesn't do this, but sets up a sign saying, name of this place is Peniel. Plain of this place is not loose anymore. It's Bethel, the house of God. He just loves naming things. But God has given him a new name. And then he asked God, what's your name? He said, don't worry about that, son. We got a lot of time for that because you're born again now. You got different eyes and different ears. You have a different heart. Didn't Jacob say, man, if you go with me to Padan Aram and you take care of me and you bring me back, he says, you're going to be my God. Boom, right there, 32nd chapter of Genesis. So Jacob called the name of the place Peniel, for I have seen God face to face. My life is preserved, saved, sanctified. We're talking about righteousness now, being in right standing with. Just as he crossed over Peniel, the sun rose on him, and he limped on his hip. Probably right about now, you're not even thinking of the limp. You're thinking about the guy that you wrestled with. And you're thinking about the new name, and you're seeing things around, and you're looking at the brook, and you're looking at the trees, and you're looking at the bushes, and you're hearing the birds like if you never heard them before, because you're a new man in Christ, a new creation. Man, when I started getting this yesterday, I started saying, maybe that's what I've been missing. And there's probably a lot more. But then last verse of the 32nd chapter says, therefore to this day, the children of Israel do not eat the muscle that shrank, which is on the hip socket, because he touched the socket of Jacob's hip in the muscle that shrank. We make hamburger out of it now, okay? I'll just tell you from a meat cutter's perspective. We make hamburger out of it now. But the children of Israel, up to that point, maybe they may even today, I don't know, maybe somebody check on that for me or not. Do they eat that tendon that's attached to the hip or not? But it doesn't matter. What matters is that Jacob / Israel Simon / Peter, Saul / Paul got a limp, and they're marked for life. A disciple is marked for the rest of their natural life. There's something that God does. He will mark you. Then Jacob, verse 1, chapter 33. Now Jacob lifted his eyes and looked, and there Esau was coming. OMG. I can't even run anymore. I'm a limper now. I can't even run away. I know what I'd be doing. I'll be speaking in tongues 100 miles an hour. Jacob is coming. Esau's coming. Jacob lifted his eyes and looked, and there Esau was coming, and with him 400 men. So he divided the children among Leah, Rachel, and the two maidservants. He's already divided the camp, his entourage, in two camps. Okay? Half of the sheep on one side, half of the sheep on the other side, half of the goats on one side, half of the donkeys, half of the camels on one side. And now Esau's a coming. And what he had done, he had already sent out the gifts. Remember, he had sent out 220 goats and 220 sheep and camels and donkeys, and sent them out as presents. Let's placate Mr. Esau, because he's a coming, and he's got 400 guys with him. So now he can see Esau. Esau's coming. Maybe he can't see him, but maybe he can see the dust of his entourage coming. Jacob lifted his eyes and looked, and there Esau. He's got new eyes now. Esau was coming, and with him 400 men. I want to tell you, this born-again experience is not just a religious little slap in the face. If a born-again experience, it's a change. It's a complete overhaul in your life. You are a new creation in Christ Jesus. The old is passed away. Behold, all things have been made new. And he's got new eyes. And there's Esau coming with 400 men. So he divided the children among Leah, Rachel, and the two maidservants. He put the maidservants and their children in front. So I think the first, wait. One of the maidservants has two children, and the other maidservant has two children, if I got this right. Okay, so he puts, I can't remember their names, but he puts this maidservant with her two sons, and that maidservant, and divides them. And then he gets Leah. Leah has 6 of them, 6 sons. And then the last one is Rachel with Joseph. He divided the children among Leah, Rachel, and the two maidservants. He put the maidservants and their children in front, Leah and her children behind, and Rachel and Joseph last. So the same way that he sends out the flocks is the same way he presents his most prized possession to Esau, showing Esau the fruit, showing Esau this is a testimony of what God has done. Esau knew that Jacob left with just the clothes on his back. 20 years later, he comes back and he's flipping the dollar bill. The $100 bills, man, are flying all over the place. According to Google, thank you, Jeff, no observant Jewish people do not eat the meat from oil. No observant Jewish people do not eat the meat from the hip area of the land animals because of the sciatic nerve, which is forbidden by Torah law due to an incident with Jacob. So I guess they still do it, if I'm reading that right. He put the maidservants and their children in front, Leah and her children behind, Rachel and Joseph last. Then he crossed over before them. You say, well, what's he going to do? Send the servants and the wives and the children? No, he's going to go first. Then he crossed over before them and bowed himself to the ground 7 times until he came near to his brother. This is big time. This is big time. He's humbling himself. He has the birthright. He has the blessing. But he's born again now. And instead of, but I think we could, no. He's humbling himself. He's going to humble himself before his brother. Then he crossed over before them, verse 3, bowed himself to the ground 7 times until he came near to his brother. Genesis 33:3. But Esau ran to meet him. Everybody's holding their breath. And embraced him and fell on his neck and kissed him, and they wept. Oh, homecoming time. Esau, 20 years ago, swore that he was going to kill him. Jacob comes back 20 years later, and Esau runs to meet him, embraced him. He's bowed himself 7 times on the ground, and his brother's coming near. And Esau embraced him. They fell on his neck, kissed him, and they wept. And he lifted up his eyes and saw the women and the children and said, "Who are these with you? What have you been doing, brother? Huh? What have you been doing in the 20 years since I seen you the last time?" So he said, "The children whom God has graciously given your servant. Give glory to the Lord." He says, this is what God has done. See what the Lord has done. Woo, woo. Sorry, I have to, remind you of a song every once in a while. Talk about a song. Kurt Collins up next, taking us to the top of the hour with Jesus Paid It All. Man. Huh? See what the Lord has done. Who are these? Where'd you get all these wives and children?
I hear the Savior say, "Thy strength indeed is small. Child of weakness, watch and pray. Find in me thine all in all." Jesus paid it all to him I owe. Sin had left a crimson stain, he washed it white as snow. Lord, now indeed I find thy power, and thine alone can change the leper's spots and melt the heart of stone. Jesus paid it all to him I owe. Sin had left a crimson stain, he washed it white as snow. White as snow. White as snow. White as snow. And when before the throne I stand in him complete, Jesus died my soul to save. My lips shall still repeat, Jesus paid it all to him I owe. Sin had left a crimson stain, he washed it white as snow. Sin had left a crimson stain, he washed it white as snow. Jesus paid it all to him I owe. Sin had left a crimson stain, he washed it white as snow. He washed it white as snow.
Well, good morning, Las Vegas. You are listening to KLYN 90.3 FM. And good morning to our Facebook and YouTube people that are out there on this Christmas Day 2025. Before you know it, it'll be over. Before you know it, we'll be talking about 2026. And then we'll be talking about Christmas 2026. Let's see what the next 12 months has for us. My God. 45 degrees is our current temperature. It feels like 39 out there. Humidity is at 63%. We have wind coming out of the south at 13 miles per hour. Andrea's with us this morning. Jeff, Fabiola, Ernie's with us. George is with us. Jennifer's with us. Joe and Flo are with us. And those are the ones that I know that are commenting off of our Facebook and YouTube channel on this day. So Esau ran to meet him. Esau, something's been going on in Esau's life too. Now, the Bible doesn't tell us that God talked to Esau the way he talked to Laban, but something been going on in Esau. But the main thing is that something's been going on big time in Jacob's life. Esau ran to meet him, and he didn't have a gun in his hand, and embraced him. Ooh, I'm going to get the eyes on this Christmas day if I don't. Embraced him, fell on his neck, and kissed him, and they wept. He lifted his eyes and saw the women and children and said, "Who are these with you?" He says, the children whom God has graciously given your servant. God had blessed, see, God had blessed Esau. We're going to find out that Esau, he doesn't come, he's got 400 servants, for an army of 400 behind him. Now he sees, who are these? What happened? What have you been doing, brother, in the last 20 years? Oh, dude, I've been working, man. I worked 7 for this one. I worked 7 for that one. That one was given when I worked the first 7, and that one was given to go along with this one. And these are the children who God has graciously given. I am your servant, and God has given me these children. Then the maidservants came near, they and their children, and they bowed down. Leah also came near with her children, and they bowed down. Afterward, Joseph and Rachel came near, and they bowed down. I mean, it's just like it was planned out ahead of time. Okay, first you, and then you, and you just do what you see me do. You do the same thing. Then Esau said, "What do you mean by all this company which I met?" What's he talking about? The 220 goats, the 220 sheep, the camels, the donkeys, so whatever, whatever. What do you mean by that? Well, why are you giving me all these things? He said, these are to find favor in the sight of my Lord. That's all I'm looking. I'm looking for your favor. You do whatever you want to do with me. He says, but I'm looking for your favor. What do you mean by all this company which I met? He said, these are to find favor in the sight of my Lord. But Esau said, I have enough, my brother. Keep what you have for yourself. Yeah, you ever had one of these meetings? You ever been there to where you're trying to give and the guy's trying to give it back to you and he's trying to give you and you're trying to give it back to him, and before you know it, it's kind of like when you're at the restaurant and the bill comes and you're fighting over the ticket. You see, I wish I had more. But you're fighting over. Let me pay. No, let me pay. Hey, take my card. No, take my card. I told you. And they're. What do you mean by all this company which I met? He said, these are to find favor in the sight. But Esau said, I have enough, my brother. Keep what you have for yourself. Jacob said, no, please. If I have found favor in your sight, show me that I have found favor in your sight by receiving my present from my hand. It's a new day. And why is it a new day? Because Israel is a new man. Inasmuch as I have seen your face as though I had seen the face of God, you are pleased with me. What? This guy, looking at you is like looking at God. Looking at the birds out there in the trees is like looking at God. Looking at everything, he's got new eyes. I see new eyes. I see a new man. Born again. A disciple. And don't forget the limp. Jacob said, no, please, if I have found favor in your sight, receive my present from my hand, inasmuch as I've seen your face as though I had seen the face of God, you are pleased with me. Had he ever looked at Esau before and have seen the face? I see God in you, Esau. Huh? I mean, I saw God in the Jabbok. I saw over there, and you don't look like him, but I see God in you. Take what I've given you. Just receive my present from my hand, please. And you were pleased, be pleased with me. Once again, no, please, if I have now found favor. Verse 10, in your sight, then receive my present from my hand, inasmuch as I've seen your face as though I had seen the face of God, and you were pleased with me. Please show that it's okay, that we're okay. Please take my blessing that is brought to you. I'm sharing the blessing. What I have is bigger. This is just the blessing. This is just the overflow that I'm offering to find favor with you. Because they were going to be neighbors. They weren't going to live right next to each other in the same block, but Esau's got a lot, and he's over there, okay, in the Edom, okay, or the Edomite, because he's an Edomite, the father of the Edomites, and Jacob is over here. Oh, Israel is now his name. And they're going to have to get along with each other. We'll find out how they're going to get along. Are they going to get along? Is this just a temporary thing? Verse 11 says, please take my blessing that is brought to you, because God has dealt graciously, with me, and because I have enough. So he urged him, and he took it. They're fighting over the ticket. And finally, Jacob gets the ticket and says, please let me pay. And finally, Esau says, okay, you pay. He urged him, and he took it. Then Esau said, let us take our journey. Let us go, and I will go before you. He says, come on, let's go. Let's go back. Let's go back to the old homestead. Jacob said to him, my Lord knows that the children are weak, the flocks and the herds which are nursing with me, and if men should drive them hard one day, all the flock will die. He said, wait, it's a good idea, but man, the kids are tired. The flocks are, I got baby sheep and baby goats and baby camels, and, they can't keep up with you and your 400 men. And if we try to take them all day, if we try to push them too much, he says, I'm going to lose some. Please, verse 14, let my Lord go on ahead before his servant. I will lead on slowly at a pace. Verse 14 is where we're going to put that bookmark right now. And if you're looking at the comments section, everybody is wishing everybody a Merry Christmas. So for those people that are with us, YouTube, Facebook, and or KLYN, and you're just listening out there, everybody that's commenting is wishing all of us a Merry Christmas. God bless you all. Thank you for watching. We'll be back tomorrow. Amanda Noel singing Hark the Herald Angels Sing.